At Botrix says, Botrix has successfully joined the channel.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello, test, test. I assume the answer is yes. Let's see, let's go here. We're gonna go over and test a couple of things. Well, we're not gonna test anything if no one's in here. So people have to actually be in here in order for me to actually test this thing. I mean, I could test it, it's just gonna it's gonna take longer for me to do it. We're going to some sort of like walking park, I think. Just a place that I can like walk around and test some stuff. So we'll see.
At A Bird from 612 says, secret streamer time.
Yeah, you know it. So, did you hear that? Did you hear the TTS? And also, was it echoing? Meaning, like, did it echo into itself, or does it sound clean? If it sounds clean, that's good, because I want to test that, and then I'm going to transfer it to my headset, to my Meta glasses. So then we'll test to see if I can hear it there. And then I brought a speaker to then see if we can test it in the speaker. So we've got a few things to test today, but hopefully it didn't like echo and sound weird. I should probably change the voice, but I should have done that before I started the stream. I can't change it once I've started the stream, so that's kind of annoying. Or can I? I don't know. Actually, we'll see. We'll see if we can. When I was looking yesterday, it didn't look like I could, so we'll have to check that out. By the way, there's a known bug. Not a bug, but it's like a limitation with the YouTube API. For some reason, the YouTube API chat is like way more delayed than like Twitch and Kick. Twitch and Kick seem a little bit more responsive, whereas YouTube seems quite a bit delayed. So I'll need to look at that and see if I could fix that. Actually, let's go over here in the shade. Let's park over here in the shade. This guy's probably like, what's this guy doing? We'll go over here in the shade. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna walk around this little like museum area. At least I think it's a museum. Actually, when I'm talking, do I sound normal? Meaning, okay, yes, it's connected to the USB, which is good. Bluetooth for playback only. Follow system. All right, let's see if we can get some more people commenting in the chat, because I need to test this. All right, let me actually, since we did confirm that it works, how do I switch it to? All right, we'll get to a different spot and then I'll try to do something different. Gonna get ready, and we'll move a couple of things here. Hey, A-Bird, are you still commenting? If you are, maybe it's not working. Just in case, let me refresh the YouTube chat here. Make sure that, oh no, it's connected. It says it's connected. So we should be all right. Let's do some hydration. All right, now let's walk around. All right. Oh, you know what? No, that should be fine. I was gonna say I left the speaker over there, but I don't think we're gonna use it like right away. So we'll have to test it out. So if anyone is actually, I can test it myself. I was gonna say if anyone's in the chat, if you can like type in there. There's like a high pitched frequency that I can hear. But it's definitely not the phone. It's not coming from the phone. But there is like some sort of high pitched frequency. Oh, actually one thing that you guys could, no, it's not, we don't have enough chat to check. I think there's a little museum place right here. This is like a little like tiny town. It has like a little amphitheater and like a bunch of like old-timey stuff in it. I figured like I didn't want to go super far. And I was like, oh, this place is like super close by. I'm gonna just go over here and test it out and see how things work. So I think what we'll do is we'll go over in the shade and then we'll set the camera down and then we'll test out some new chat features and see if they work. So first thing is we'll test TTS. So if somebody comments in the chat, we'll test it to see if it's audible. And then next I'll transfer it to my glasses and see if I can hear it over Bluetooth. And then lastly, I think I'll need to see if on the output is showing properly, because it might not be. Let's see. Can I open this? I think I can. Maybe we'll do some exploring too. Okay. So if we go over to, let's see, should we go over to?
A bird from 612 says, I'm multitasking, but yes, I heard the TTS and there was an echo.
There was an echo. That's not good. Hold on, let me listen.
12 says, I'm multitasking, but yes, I heard the TTS and there was an echo.
There was an echo. Kind of sounds like reverb, right? Like slight reverb. That's not horrible though.
It's faint.
Yeah, it's not bad. Let's see if we can improve on that. Thank you. So then I didn't have to like do it myself. If I were to switch speaker, higher quality output, the headset's microphone can't be used while. Okay, so now if we have a headset and I toggle, now it should go to my Meta glasses. Let's see if I can hear it in my Meta glasses. And then you guys shouldn't necessarily see it or hear it. Or actually, if I have it on my glasses, does it still echo? Or do you hear it still? Let's test that. I'm gonna test that. So I will do a comment. Dude, my back hurts on this chair. It's not the most comfortable thing ever. All right. Hello. This is a test.
Analog Wanderer says, hello, this is a test.
All right. Okay. I can hear it through my glasses. Okay, and you guys can hear it as well on chat or on the whatever. What am I saying? Okay.
So 612 says, I can hear it sounds better.
Yeah, okay. So I guess the way to go is like Bluetooth because then you guys can still hear it on chat. So basically what you're hearing, all right, so for future SOC, if we're hearing, sorry, hold on, let me think about this first. If you select TTS to go through speaker, we need to shut off sending the audio internally. And then if we have a Bluetooth device connected, then we can send it through the Bluetooth device as well as through the internal way of doing things. So then at that point, you guys could hear me, but then also hear the chat. And then if it has the speaker selected, it doesn't send it over internal, because that's where we get the echo, is it's sending internally, but then it's also sending over the speakers, and then it has like a very slight echo. But honestly, like, I don't hate it. It's not bad, right? It doesn't sound bad at all. So I don't actually mind that echo. And I think people wouldn't mind it either. So yeah, that's not bad. Let's see, let's test this out again. So if you're in chat and you want to comment, then we can see it should go to my meta glasses and I should be able to hear it. And then, yeah, go from there. Let me see if I can turn up the volume though. Yeah, so the volume on my glasses aren't low. I'm still turning them up and it's not affecting you guys, right? So that should be good. Can I open this door? No, I can't open this door. Whoa. So this is like an old-timey, like frozen in time thing. Can I go through the back? So now it should be a little bit louder. We can test.
Blue just says, is this a park? A bird from 612 says, test test. Chugwook says, let's see how long these glasses battery can hold.
They can hold for quite a while. Well, allegedly, like on paper, it says 8 hours, right? So the only reason I have the old ones and I have the new ones, these are the new ones. The only reason why I bought the new ones is A, shoots higher quality video, but it looks the same, like you can't tell the difference. So I totally got scammed. And then B, it's the battery life is supposed to be like 8 hours. It's not that at all. So that's annoying. So yeah, as far as where I'm at, I don't know. It's like this random like museum / park. It's like a walking area. And they have like a lot of like old-timey things in here where you can just like walk and check them out, of like historical preserved stuff. So yeah, so what we're doing is we're testing a new feature. We're testing a couple new features, but I'm having a hard time with like how we want to implement TTS. Because like I understand that a lot of streamers, like they want all of these like customization options in TTS, but like it's a mess. So today, like to have all those options, it's just a lot to like present to the user. So we'll support multi-language, but I don't think we're gonna have like a million things. And I'm trying to figure out like logically, like the best way to do all the switching. Because right now it's not like clean. So when it goes through the speaker, it has a little bit of an echo because it's going through the speaker of the phone, and then it's also going through the internal pipeline. So you're basically getting it twice. Actually, here, I'll enable that for you guys. So right now it's just going through my meta glasses. So I'm gonna shut it off. And now if somebody can comment and say something a little bit longer, then it will go through my speaker on the phone, but then it will also like go through the internal. So you'll hear like a slight reverb. which I'm curious actually, like the longer you stream, if it gets worse and worse, like depending on the latency. But so far, the latency is not bad. It's not bad at all. And also, you should not be able to see, so as we scroll, oh, I can't see that anymore. So we used to be able to see like a little scroll wheel. So what I had mentioned, like there's a lot of streamers that didn't like that because there's just like a random, like a random vertical like line that's like next to your chat. So we went ahead and we removed that as well. So we don't have that anymore. Can I open this? I don't think any of this stuff's open. Yeah, that's lame. I think the museum part is open, but I don't want to go in there right now. So, all right. So if somebody can comment in the chat, just so that we can like test the reverb part of it. And if nobody comments, I'll go and type it in myself. So what's nice about this is if you're like solo streaming and you're like actively doing something, you can have some sort of...
Chunk says, love the clouds in the background there. Thank God that scroll thing is gone. Let's go.
Yeah, so the whole reason why I took it out is because I was watching somebody stream, I think yesterday, and she was yelling at her sister and making her sister toggle the chat on and off, because it basically has to stack up all of has to stack up like a few chats, and then it starts to show, because then it tells you that it's scrollable. So she was making her sister toggle it on and off, and every time you could see it, she made her sister toggle it off and then back on. So I was like, we can just remove that. So we removed it yesterday, which is why we're testing it here. But yeah, no, I mean, the clouds are super nice. The area is like really nice. It was like storming like crazy yesterday. And I thought all these like buildings would be open, but they're not. So when you just commented, Chuck, did you hear like a slight reverb when it read it out loud? So when it's connected via Bluetooth, it's clean. When it's coming through the speaker, it's a little loud. Or sorry, there's like a slight reverb, which doesn't bother me at all, actually. But I know it's going to bother some people. They're going to be like, there's an echo! Do you use the app, Chuck? Because you knew about the scroll wheel. That's cool. Yeah, I think it would be a little bit better if me as the user, I could see the scroll wheel, because then like I don't think streamers assume that they can scroll. That's like a found thing that they end up doing, or at least when I watch their behavior, it doesn't seem like they know that you can scroll. And then when we tell them, hey, like scroll the chat, they're like, what? So like you can just grab it and then scroll. But even so, when
I tried to tell you about that scrolling thing on the last stream when you were trying using the camera feed on your iPhone 17 Pro Max, but the stream ended. Yeah, there is an echo still.
Okay, yeah. But it's slight, right? It doesn't bother you. Let's go ahead and switch that again. We're going to switch that to playback, Ray-Bans. Okay, so now when I just switched that, did the audio when I was talking like blip or sound a little bit differently? Yeah, I think, Chuck, I remember you saying like as soon as I ended the stream, I saw some sort of chat that popped up and says, oh, by the way, and then I had already ended the stream. So yeah, it's gone now, which is nice. So this version outside of TTS, because I think I want to rework TTS a little bit more, but this version should be out like on Sunday or Monday. So like the good thing is just make sure everyone's like updating their apps. Hopefully you're on iPhone. Again, like if you want kind of the latest and greatest as soon as possible, you want to get on the iPhone build, and you just want to use it via iPhone, because we update and we develop for iPhone first, and then kind of all the Android features get put on. So most things get validated on the iPhone, and then we move over to Android. I personally like iPhone a lot better, just from an experience, color, rendering, encoding. It's just a much better look. And I know a lot of streamers use Android and they're like, oh, Android's the best, but I do not see it that way. Nor do I, oh, there's lights on this one. Nor do I subscribe to that. Like, definitely, like, we work on Android and like everything's great, but like you're gonna have the best experience on iPhone by far, just because it's more superior, more responsive, less things to have to worry about.
Yeah, that was me. The echo is kinda loud, not gonna lie. And yes, there was a little sound when you switched the feature.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll go back and I'll watch the VOD. So that, you should have heard it and it should have been like super clean for you. So when you said it's super loud, oh, probably because it's just coming through the speaker. So basically what I need to do is I need to do it, like we need to make a modification so that if it's coming through the speaker, we don't like send it through the internal pipeline. So it basically doesn't double up the audio and it just kind of, you just hear it through the speaker. Because ultimately, like, people are going to use it like that. And then I've got to figure out like how we switch it. Because I do like the feature. It's nice. Obviously we need to test it with a bigger streamer who has like a ton of followers, because we have like logic that it doesn't like read every single message, especially like if people are like burst messaging and like messaging a ton. We support, you know, things differently. Oh, by the way, if there's alerts, so can I send myself an alert? This is specific to Twitch. So if we go to Twitch, or like, I mean, I guess this could work for YouTube. If there's like some sort of way to send an alert via either YouTube or Twitch, if you guys know how to do that, if you can do that, but if you have to pay, don't do it. But I think there's like a way to send like different alerts when it comes to like subscribing and other things like that. Wait, what area am I on? Okay, so we haven't fixed this yet. So the other thing too is that whenever, like, what side I'm on right now, you can see like the text is covering my face. I should be on the other side. So we haven't fixed that yet. We fixed that on Android. Basically we're mirroring, we got to request that like whatever I'm seeing is what the viewer sees. And so like if you have text, so for example, let's try this. For example, if we see this text in my preview, it's reversed, but in the output, you guys should be able to see it correctly. So we fixed that, but there's a lot of people that don't like that. So yeah, but it kind of trips you out because the direction that you're facing is just a little bit different, which kind of drives everybody crazy. Especially like if you're using overlays, it can really like screw you up. So now that we have verbal TTS, I don't need that text that big.
Is there a way to make the TTS a bit faster? Maybe some streamers would think the TTS takes too long the way it is right now.
Oh yeah, you can change, like, I think you missed the part where I said like there's a bunch of customization options in there, where you can like speed up the like how long it talks for. So here, I'll show you guys here in just a second. Let me fix the chat though, because I have TTS enabled. I can make this smaller. And then let's close out this window a little bit more. Boop. There we go. Cool. All right. Because then, like, I don't have to rely on it because I can hear you guys. So yes, let me show you something. So this is what it looks like today. This is not what it's going to look like when it gets released, because I'm going to change it. But currently, it's in the mic settings. So if we go to mic, Oh, actually, it's probably going to duplicate, like double up, it's probably going to double up here. So let me shut that off first. Let's preview live, preview. Now it should not double up anymore. Let me know if that actually works. So if we go to mic currently, here's how it's kind of set up. Oh, what? So the settings don't show if I'm sharing my screen, which is a bug. We got to fix that. This is why I test everything, is because like you never know how something is going to function, and I want to make sure that by the time it hits like the user's hands, it's very easy to like execute and like as intuitive as it can be, and sometimes it's not. So, all right, if we hit mic, currently it's set to Bluetooth for playback. So that means that it's coming through my Meta glasses, and you can see that it says, you know, Meta 00TR. If you can see the USB microphone, whether or not we want to do built-in, and then we have it coming through the speaker right now. So click it again. You guys probably heard something weird with the audio just because there's like routing that happens automatically. So now it's coming through my Meta glasses. Let me, I'm going to unshare my screen just for a second here, and then we'll enable chat again, because when I'm sharing my screen, oh, actually, hold on. I was looking in the wrong section. Sorry. You would think that I would know that, right? Okay. So if we go to, by the way, the other thing that's a little bit slow right now is like YouTube chat. For some reason, like the API is not fast enough, and the chats show up a little bit slower than what they're supposed to. We're aware of that, and like we're working to like make that better. For some reason, I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way that is. The way that YouTube does chat overlay in general is kind of weird, so we run into some issues there. Okay, so let's just do like a quick review. We're bonding, so we have 2 connections. This is Wi-Fi, this is cellular. What's important when streaming is you always want 2 connections, and you want 2 connections from different carriers. So for example, if your cell phone is on Verizon, maybe your hotspot's T-Mobile. You don't need 2 connections, but like if you're serious about streaming and you want a reliable stream, you want 2 connections. If it says okay, if any of these say okay, that means you're not getting data on that connection. So usually it's Wi-Fi and it just says okay, that means you're not getting any data and we're only using 1 connection. We have the ability in this beta version, which I can't show you because I can't access my settings from here. We do have the ability to add more than just 2 connections. If you had a wired cable, Ethernet, you can add that. If you had, and you were streaming with your friends and your friends had another iPhone, you could add that. So technically you can have like an unlimited amount of numbers, but like, so if you're going into like a stadium, for example, or you're in an area that just kind of sucks, you can technically like add like 6 connections on here, which is kind of cool. That's something that's coming later. Not right now, but it's likely something that's going to come later. So on TTS, here's kind of your settings. So you can see that right now we have, what is it? We have Twitch, YouTube, Kick. If we scroll down, we have TTS. And then here's kind of all the settings that we have right now. Read chat aloud, mix stream. So actually, if we didn't want to mix that stream and it was coming through the speakers, I could probably just disable that, which is dumb. I think that needs to be automatic. So we'll probably build some logic in there that it just does all that stuff automatically. Speed is as fast as it's going to read. So you can accelerate that. So you can speed it up, pause between messages, skip messages older than. Currently it says 15 seconds. Say username, skip bot command. So there's a ton of like customization options that you have, including custom voices. I think it's too much. Like what I would rather have is that we just give a couple of options and then we kind of default to like specific values, because like that could be very overwhelming to look at. But you know, obviously it doesn't matter what I think. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts if you're still here, just on like what you guys think it should be for like TTS. Because like ultimately we're just designing it for the users. But the thing that's always top of mind for me is like how somebody uses our products, and like I want them to have like as easy of an experience as possible. And so this is actually what you guys are looking at, is actually what we end up with first. Usually like say, hey, we have this feature, here's how we want to develop it out. Sometimes we get it right from the very beginning of like simplifying like how it's supposed to look and feel, but most of the time we don't. So usually what we do is we like get these features out, we test them. We have a very small like beta testing group that will help us do some testing, and then we like try to make it, and then we do like a couple of runs on like, okay, we have the feature working, now how do we make it stupid simple for everyone that's using it? And then we'll go through like, you know, a handful of revisions and tests, and you know, try to make it, you know, as easy to like execute as possible. And then once we feel like we're in a pretty good spot, then we'll do like a release. Sometimes we skip all of that and we just release it, especially if it's a feature that somebody asks for like right away. It becomes like just a priority, and we just try to release it, and then we'll just kind of iterate as we go. Another thing that's coming that I know a lot of people were requesting.
Chug says, I guess TTS is gone after you screen shared.
Oh, was it? So were you talking? Maybe you were talking while I was screen sharing? Okay, so for future SOC, we need to look at whether or not TTS disables itself when doing a screen share. I assume so, because if we were screen sharing and then playing like a YouTube video and reacting to that YouTube video, it would probably use the same pipeline that we're using for TTS.
Oh, it's back, but it didn't read my last MSG.
Yeah, so if you send something back to back, it's not gonna read it if it's within a certain time window. So it's possible that it just skipped it. But you can dial that in. So you can dial in your settings to like read every single message. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's do that, because we don't have like enough people in here to where there's no reason why it shouldn't read every message. Pause between messages, none. Skip messages older than 30 seconds. Skip likely spam, skip links, skip at mentions.
Josh Warner Photo says, hey there.
What's up, dude? We're just testing some TTS. So right now we've
shooting with today.
I'm not shooting on anything today, unfortunately. We're testing some new features, which you just heard. So TTS, it's unreleased. It's not available in the app right now. But the idea is that you can use your speaker. Currently, it's plugged in through my Meta glasses, so I can hear chat, and then I can respond. But
movie w TVU Go.
Oh, is that a different language? What's going on over there?
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And like the thing that we do differently is it's not just through your speaker. Like I have it routed through my Meta glasses, but then it also has it going, you know, out to you guys so that you guys can hear it. TVU Go. I can't see who said that. Let's see if Chuck's message comes in again. So there could also be an issue from YouTube, like the way that it reads YouTube messages. Maybe that's why. Let me look at my settings here. I was gonna bring a camera, but I didn't. TTS, speed, 100% mix. Pause between messages. Skip messages older than. So yeah, it doesn't look like, I think what we should probably do is have a setting where it reads every message. No, normally that's what we're supposed to do, but I don't think it made it to its settings. So like if you say something back to back, I won't be able to see it. So now
Chubbuck says, yet I was right. It's not reading messages with a sign.
With @ sign, meaning it's not like reading your name, or if you're doing an @ whatever, it doesn't read the message. There's settings in here that you can like customize it. So if it's not reading specific messages, like filter, say user's name, skip bot commands, skip links, skip likely spam, skip @ message of others. So there's like a lot of like customization options that you have. I'm just not like a big TTS guy, so like I'm relying on like other people to like help me build that out, just because I know that there's people that like completely live and die by it. So we're just trying to make it like easy. I would say like if this was ready to go now, it would probably be released next week, but we'll probably wait because from like a usability standpoint, I think I need to make it a little bit better and easier to use. So we'll probably do a few passes to make it a little more streamlined. And then once we do a few passes, then we'll release it. So I would say like realistically, probably about another week or so. Let's see if that can open that window.
It's Gansk says, sounds great though.
Yeah, cool. It sounds good because again, it's coming through my meta glasses.
Says, if a viewer mention another streamer using their username with a sign, that would be a problem.
Yeah, so you can shut that off. So currently, the way that I have it set is if somebody's talking, like cross talking to another user, right now it skips that. So it says skip @ mention of others. So if there's like crosstalk of other people that are just chatting, it would skip it. So yeah, that's good. The other thing that I'm going to try, so I'm going to shut off, what am I going to do? So it was echoing, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to move it back to the speaker, but don't comment yet. And then we're going to mix stream. We're going to shut that off. So now if somebody can comment, it will read it through my speaker. And then what we want to make sure it doesn't do is it doesn't echo. So hopefully it doesn't echo. And if it doesn't echo, then that's a good thing. Or it may not just read it at all. There may be an issue. Which is why like I test every feature before we get released. So this is the important part. I don't want to like release something and then everyone gets
says, let's see if there is an echo here.
Cool. Well, hopefully not. Let's see. Can I catch that in time?
It's Gansk says, when would we be able to stream directly to TikTok through TVU Go?
So you can stream directly to TikTok today, but you need an app key through YouTube Studio or through TikTok Studio or whatever it's called.
Says, no echo at all.
Oh, sick. Okay, cool. So we solved the issue. So I think what I need to do is just do automatic logic then, so that I need to think through that. Let me think through that here real quick so then I can just grab it on the VOD. So if using speaker, disable, so if using, this might not make sense to you guys, but it's gonna make sense to me. If using speaker for TTS, disable mixed stream by default. And then if using Bluetooth, oh, that's gonna be too hard to do though, because like we can't tell the difference between whether it's a Bluetooth speaker or a Bluetooth device. So we're gonna need to leave the option open for the user. But if it's a Bluetooth speaker, we can just disable the mixed stream by default. And then if somebody has like a headset and they want it to be read out, then they can enable it themselves. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it so people don't run into echo issues. Okay, anyway, I'm back in. What were we talking about? We were talking about something. that was not related to TTS. What did you say? No echo at all. When would be able to stream? Oh!
Says, what is the default setup you're using right now?
What is the default setup I'm using right now? I'm assuming you're asking like what I'm using to stream. So what I'm using to stream is TVU Go. It's a subscription-based streaming platform. I'm like the product manager slash creator slash all the things. So we're testing unreleased features right now. Specifically what we're testing is TTS. So we can have it come through a speaker, you guys can hear it. We can switch it so that, which I'll do that right now. We can switch it so that it's gonna mix it on the stream. I just moved it over so it comes through my Bluetooth on my Meta glasses. So now when you guys comment, it will still read it on stream, but it comes through my Meta glasses. So we embed it into the stream so you guys hear like a very clear.
Maybe have a quick disclosure about Bluetooth speaker underneath that feature toggle.
Yeah, nobody reads those things though. So yes, I agree with you, but nobody reads them from what I learned. So I think like surfacing it like in other ways, I got to figure out like a better logical way to implement from a user standpoint, so you just like click a button, you don't have to really think about stuff. And then if you really wanted to, you can change the language, but I think that can be a different somewhere else and not like in the front of everything. But the question from earlier was something about TikTok. So yeah, TikTok is supported today. You just have to use a stream key, so you have to get it through TikTok. Once you put that stream key in there, you never have to change it again. Same thing like with YouTube Studio as well. Like you don't have to do that now because you just authenticate and you can go live through TVU Go, but it's like the same concept. If you've ever used YouTube Studio without this app, you have to basically copy the key that they give you, but TikTok doesn't make it easy. So we're working on a better relationship with them because nobody has the ability to just log into your TikTok account and then use it like really good. Here's something that's like a teaser, Instagram. So Instagram's the same thing. You won't find an app that you can do authentication easily through, but we're working on something, and we're like the only ones that are working on something where same exact behavior of YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, you'll just need to log into your Instagram account and you can bring that in just like you can any other platform, and then you can also add the chat in there as well. So that will be released in the not too distant future. Transparency, we're waiting on stuff from Meta. Meta's kind of the holdup for us there. But we want that same exact experience on TikTok, and we're working on it. It just takes time to develop relationships in areas that you need to. Obviously, TikTok specifically, they make a lot of their revenue with their live streams, and so they want people to stream on their native platforms. But like, we really want to be able to integrate, make it easy for everybody so that you guys can just like authenticate and then use the app. We also are working on the ability to be like platform native. So right now I'm centered here, but one of the things that we want to be able to do is like if I'm streaming to TikTok or Instagram, we should be able to crop and have like a vertical video without being 16:9. We want to do that automatically. Currently, like having the ability to like reframe and do a bunch of stuff like that, I think would be good, but we can't. We don't do that today, but that's something that we're capable of, and we'll likely do that in the not too distant future. That answer your TikTok question? I know that was like a very long-winded way of doing it. Also, if you have connections at TikTok, hit us up, because the more people that hit.
From 612 says, hey, any update on being able to connect to scheduled YouTube streams directly from the app? Chuguk says, is there an option to change the TTS voice? Says, yes.
Yeah, there is an option. So yes, we're working on the YouTube stuff. The YouTube stuff should be implemented in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Specifically like scheduled, being able to go live on a particular scheduled thing, being able to test. So you should be able to switch between public, unlisted, and private, all inside of TVU Go. There's a ton of APIs that are available on YouTube, and so we are going through them now, and we're actively like building that out. YouTube is the only platform that has a lot of those types of features. So normally, like for other platforms, it just kind of stages, and then if you go live, it will use, you know, whatever information you put in. YouTube doesn't function that way. It's a little smarter. So we are going to build that out more over the next probably 3 weeks or so. Currently, we're working on something else, which has taken priority over YouTube, but it is on our list to like make better. And, you know, like I said, hopefully over the next 3 weeks, we can get it to where it needs to be. What was another question? Chuck, you asked a question. Is there an option to change the voice? Yeah. So there's like hundreds of voices here. I'm not going to share my screen because it's going to I forget what I was going to say. It's not going to work. But basically, read chat aloud. There's the system voice, which is what mine is set to. You can obviously shut that off. And then you have customized voices, where you have Arabic, Cantonese, French, Vietnamese. So default language, detect language per message, which is kind of cool. So yeah, you can change the voice, but currently it's set to iOS system. So whatever your iOS system voice is what the phone will just inherit by default. And I think we'll probably leave it on that. Obviously, we don't want a robotic voice, but maybe what we'll do is change that, and then basically whatever is your defaulted voice to your phone, that's what's going to show. You think we can get into this? What is this? Heritage Lakewood.
@Chuguk says, talking about YouTube, I was watching Kuma Monster last night and he uses Google Live Translate API on his OBS stream settings. Would that be possible to add to the app?
Yeah. If we get a ton of international requests to do that, yes. The fact that you named Kuma Monster is pretty interesting too, because that dude just kind of IRLs around town, and travels and IRLs. But yeah, no, like here's kind of the overall strategy of Go. If users demand it, we will prioritize it and put it in. For example, Torch. So we have our own, like if you're a streamer, you have SRT-LA and everyone's like, oh, you guys need to support SRT-LA. TVU and TVU Go have their own prioritized SRT-LA. It's called ISX. And so that means you can bond. It's very low latency. We believe that it's more superior than SRT-LA.
Says, my bad, I meant to say closed caption, not translation.
Explain that again. Like you want the ability to add closed caption. So there's a toggle, we add the toggle, and it adds closed captioning like downstream. Because currently, like Kick has a closed caption feature that they just launched. Twitch already has one. YouTube also has one, but you have to enable it in YouTube Studio. So like for me, I don't really see like a need to add it into the app natively, but I mean, we have other products that support captions like natively. So if you have spoken language, it will output those captions automatically. So that's something that we could add. But like I said, all of our roadmap and all of our priorities are all set by like the users. So if there's enough users that like demand it, we'll add it in. Like what I was saying is, as an example, ISX, one of the not downsides, but opportunities to like improve is it does use a lot of resources on the phone. So your phone will get hot. So one of the things that we've disabled by default is the ability to use your torch, your camera light on your phone. Streamers hate that they don't have the ability to do that. So we're adding it back in just because we've had enough users that have reached out and were like, WTF, add the torch back, we need the torch. So we're gonna add the torch back in, but we're gonna add it with a warning. So when you hit it, it says, you know, using this may reduce your battery life by a lot, blah, 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 whatever, continue, your torch comes on, and then you can use it. So yeah, I think as long as users are using it. The other thing that we've heard a ton of feedback on, and I spent a lot of time trying to think about how we wanted to pull this off, is zooming. So currently, if I switch this view, if I pinch to zoom, then it's going to zoom the camera.
Oh, okay. For what I understood from what Kuma said, Twitch is not default. He did it himself though, obs. Yeah, the torch at night helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I reached out to him to use the app, but it probably wasn't mature enough for him because he does a lot of custom stuff, and I know he has his own kind of OBS setup. Yeah. And I know he has like a lot of like custom OBS stuff. So anyway, the point that I was trying to make is like we've got the ability to zoom here, but currently you have to pinch to zoom. And a lot of feedback that we got from users was they didn't like the fact that you have to pinch to zoom. Like when they want to zoom into something, they want to be able to do it fast. So a lot of people suggested that we do what Moblin does, which is just put buttons basically on the UI. I want to try to avoid putting buttons on the UI as much as possible. The reason why is because like I want a clean UI. If you wait for like 5 to 10 seconds, the UI disappears in the background and only shows your chat, only shows like your bonded service and kind of what that looks like.
It says no buttons.
Yeah, please. Correct. So we're not doing buttons. However, we are doing buttons, but we're doing it differently. So actually, yeah, we'll go over that. Let me share my screen here. It's not out yet, but like I said, we've gotten enough requests that, so currently you see that we waited and the UI slid out so that you couldn't see. Actually, you guys also should see a duplicate again. Let me shut that off. We'll go preview only. Now you don't see a duplicate. So you can see we have our live on the right. To the left of it, we have 16:9 beauty, mic, chat. We're gonna have like a little modal that you can click, and then it reveals another, basically like a control center, where you will have the ability to hit buttons. You will be able to turn on your torch light from this little UI, this little third wheel. So like where it's gonna sit is it's going to sit, oh actually, hold on, let me shut this off too. Shut off the pip. Where it's going to sit is, it's going to...
Chuguk says, maybe something like a joystick, up and down?
It's gonna sit right here, where you click it and it comes out, it just pops out, boop, right here. You have the ability to hit all of your camera buttons from here, your torch, and then your lock. You have the ability to like lock your whole screen. So for example, if like you're moving around or you have an external camera, you can lock your screen so that, and then put it like in your crossbody so that you're not worried about buttons being pressed and then like going offline. So those are the things that we're likely gonna add. So again, here, there'll be a little button that you can press and a little control center will come out. So for those that are like zooming a lot.
Daybird from 612 says, if you're using the DJI Osmo mobile gimbal, can you use the wheel to zoom?
Which DJI mobile? Oh, Osmo mobile. I don't know the answer to that. I've never used it. So I've never used the DJI Osmo mobile. We're not like directly compatible with it, like at least in this app. So I assume no, but I don't know. Like somebody would need to test that out and let us know. I know we do support like DJI Osmo Mobile and like other products that we have. So if we get enough requests, like we can easily do that. Most people that have the DJI Osmo Mobile, what I've noticed is they just leave it on auto tracking. And usually they're like setting their stuff down and then the mobile's tracking them. But I haven't seen anybody like try or even request like being able to like zoom in and out. That's not something that I've noticed. Let's try one more thing. We're gonna go and we're gonna switch to a big speaker because I know a lot of streamers do this, and then we'll like wrap up because I know we've been streaming for a little while now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a Bluetooth speaker, and so we've tested going through headphones, we've tested going through the speaker, how to disable the echo, and then now we're gonna test hooking up like a external Bluetooth speaker and then making sure that it's not echoing either, and we'll test that out because I know that this is like something that a lot of streamers also do, is they use the external.
@abird from 612 says, okay, I'll test it out and let you know.
Yeah, thanks. I assume it's not going to work, but because I know that we do a lot of stuff in like the broadcast space, and I know some customers, we are compatible with it in another application that we use, and they're able to like control it. I think they asked to like control it remotely too, but I can't totally remember. so yeah. By the way, did you guys watch Streamer Prom last night? So one of the things that I noticed is like a lot of the people that were not using TVU products were not able to get out. In general, like the Wi-Fi was just really bad. But a lot of people that were like using TVU Go at least had a pretty decent signal or were able to just like get out. But the image quality wasn't that great in a lot of guys. But people that I noticed that were not on Go were definitely, it definitely was not a good experience. All right, we're gonna sit in this, whatever this is, some sort of chair. Okay, put this down over here. We have this Bluetooth speaker, and let's see if I can see it. I'm gonna turn it on.
Battery 50%.
Battery 50%.
Connected to Go phone.
Okay, so now it's switched over. It's interesting that I can't select which one it's there. So now it's here. So now if somebody comments, it should come through this speaker. And then let me make sure that mix stream is off so nobody hears an echo. So now anytime somebody comments, it should read through here, and we shouldn't be able to hear an echo. So again, this is a new feature that we're testing, TTS, that we're natively supporting. You've got like a ton of different options if somebody wants to like comment. You've got a ton of...
@abird from 612 says, what is so interesting is that all of the streamers I watch use some sort of DJI gimbal, which seems very different from your core demo. It's like a completely different IRL world.
Wait, what do you mean? Like what DJI stuff have you seen them use? Because the majority of people that we've helped out use the Pocket 3. The Pocket 4 is just not good with UVC or wireless transmission. The Action 4, if you're like an DJI action camera person, the Action 4 uses like really good, like that's the best probably streaming camera that DJI makes. For some reason, a lot of the stuff like isn't as good DJI wise. So that's really weird. But most people that use external cameras, or they're using like the full-blown, like they're an FX3, a ZV-E1. I know a lot of streamers hook up the ZV-E10 camera, only because they message us when they have issues. So I know generally what people are using. But like when it comes to like POV, mostly like streamers that get up and go, I see a lot on like Pocket. There was one that was using a GoPro, and I'm like, why would you use a GoPro to stream? Because it's like super inconvenient to stream on a GoPro. But what do you mean? Like, expand on that a little bit. What is so interesting is that all of the streamers I watch use some sort of DJI gimbal. Oh, you're saying international does use gimbal. So if you watch a lot of international content creators, I do see those guys with gimbals. So like Korean streamers, Japanese streamers, they're using some sort of like gimbal device. But yeah, we have a handful of streamers that are using the gimbal stuff, but they're just using the auto tracking feature. So I don't think they're using like the zoom, like they're not like...
A Bird from 612 says, the typical setup is super simple cell phone and DJI Osmo Mobile 7 gimbal.
Dude, it is so loud. It's like reverberating over this, over this. That's funny. It's not echoing though, right? I shut it off. I shut off the mix audio, so it shouldn't be echoing. It should sound pretty clean, but it would be coming through this microphone or being picked up through the microphone. Yeah, that's exactly what I see too. But what I see is they don't zoom. So that we do have
A Bird from 612 says, Florida and California streamers.
Nice. Yeah, what I do see is the people that use...
Chubuk says, yeah, the gimbal gives good image stabilization.
Yeah, what I do see a lot of the guys using... oh, now it feels nice and cool. It's not hot anymore. What I do see, like a lot of gym people, like people that are doing like a ton of gym stuff, they'll use DJI, but maybe I should buy one. I know we're compatible with some of the mobile stuff, but I need to see what people are using. So if you guys have recommendations on like which ones we need to support, drop it in the comments, and then I'll buy one. And then if we need to do like Zoom and like some better integrations, I think we can do that. We do support some DJI gimbals already, so it shouldn't be hard to add it into this app. So if that's something that's of interest to you guys, I think we're more than happy to do it. But we just haven't gotten a ton of requests. Right now, like the biggest thing right now is external camera setups. So a lot of interest around being able to use your iPhone and hook up your professional camera, or just a camera, some sort of mirrorless camera. So with iPhone, you can do that with the CMO. And then with Android, hit and miss, you can do it via UVC. But there's a lot of cameras that are just not good at UVC. So there's a specific capture card that people use that's good, that we recommend, and actually fixed a ton of people's issues. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head. It's like $30 on Amazon, and that's how you get it working on Android. In general though, I recommend iPhone as like the best device to use, for streaming. We support both platforms, but like I said, I do like iPhone a lot more. All right, what other questions do we have? Let's see, I'm trying to think of anything else. I do like, so it takes time to get used to for TTS. I like it, we need to make it simpler, because the UI, the TTS stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but the mixing is what's the hard part right now. I don't like the way that we have the mixing. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably spend next week optimizing that, and then we'll release it the following week to everyone else. So if I don't get stuck doing something dumb next week, I think you can probably expect this to hit your hands in the next 2 weeks. On iPhone first, and then later on Android. Because like I said, all of the features generally hit iPhone first, and then we move them over to Android after that. So usually from like a roadmap, we always prioritize iOS, develop for iOS, and then we do Android. Sometimes it's the reverse, but normally not. So for example, I think I showed this off, is that if we go here, it's backwards for me in the preview, but it should be flipped for you guys. Apparently I thought everyone...
A Bird from 612 says, hey, I know this isn't a support stream, but is it intentional that every time I select an overlay it wants me to resize it and I have to click on the pencil icon for the resizing to go away?
It depends on if you do it full screen. So if you add it full screen, you likely do have to click on the pencil. in general, that needs work. Because like every platform's a little bit different. So like sometimes you can put in like an alert or like a widget, right? And then that widget looks completely fine. Other times you can't. So the other thing that we added, you're talking about third-party external overlays. One of the things that we added that you'll notice, and you probably haven't before, is we added a zoom control. So now let's say if you're adding an alert or you're adding like a specific widget that needs to be a specific size, now you have zoom control, so you can make it bigger or larger. But that's all platform dependent, honestly. Like sometimes it works really well, other times like with other platforms it just doesn't work good. So it's kind of hit and miss. What I'll probably do is, I was thinking about that as well, is like it's kind of annoying having to like deselect it.
Bird from 612 says, no, the native one.
Oh, the native one, no. That pencil will always be there, but usually when you click off of it, it will, the red out.
Like where the privacy screen is.
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about the third-party overlays. So what you're talking about here, let's share the screen. What you're talking about, boop. Can you see the screen? Yeah, now it's enabled. But it's duplicating, right? So let's shut that off. Preview live to just preview. What you're talking about is these overlays here. So one of the things that we added is if we click and hold, you can, oh wait, is this not supported while I'm streaming? Let's see if this one is. Boop. Yeah, okay, here it is. Oop, don't want to. Anyway, you have like the URL and then you have zoom. So currently this is set to 25%. Obviously frame rate is like very low because, you know, not all phones are created equal. So if you have something that you want to render at like a higher frame rate, you can set that differently, but we have 5 frames by default. Preview audio, and if you're using TTS from like another service, you can do mix overlay audio and click that. But yeah, you have the zoom control here. So if you wanted to enable it, so actually we can do this one because this one's full screen. So you can see there's this little red outline, and there's no way if I'm clicking it, I just clicked it, now it's clicked off. And if I want to edit it, I have to hit this little pencil down here if I want to edit the size of the screen. This is actually why I want to change the way we zoom, because now if I want to zoom or if I want to like move this around, I don't have a way to do that. So the reason actually why I want to move the zoom to the buttons is so that when you're doing your overlays, you can just pinch your overlays and control your overlays. Right now you can't do that. So that's why I actually want to switch the feature and go to buttons that are hidden, because then it frees up us to be able to just do the pinch to zoom and resize these a lot easier. So when you're setting them, you do the link and then you can just pinch and kind of resize everything in like a really nice way. So that's that. Let's see if this one works. Does this work? You guys see this overlay, right? Oh wait, hold on, let me stop the screen again. Boop. Let's get the chat back on. So yeah, not bad, right? I mean, would you guys use this feature? I think it's pretty good. I think we need to make it easier for sure, but kind of where it's at, I think it's pretty much ready to go. It's just the confusing part about it though is like knowing what it's doing. So I think the logical path that I need to take is...
A bird from 612 says, I see it would be nice if you could just select fill and not have to think about it. Chugwok says, oh yeah, absolutely. A bird from 612 says, but maybe that's just me because I'm a noob.
Because you're a noob. I'll have to go back and look at what you're saying. What are you saying? Oh yeah, absolutely. I see it would be nice if you could select fill and not have to think about it. You're saying is by default, it should just fill the screen. I think we can do that, but it also depends on like what resolution your overlay is at, because if your overlay is just an overlay that sizes, let's say that just sizes a emoji or something, like that's tough. But yeah, we can do that though. I think by default we can have it full screen, that it just takes the whole thing, because I also have to have it so that it times out. So if you don't click off of it, it times out automatically. But yeah, we can do that so that it's full screen by default. So you plug in an overlay. I don't think we should call it fit fill. I just think we should just by default, they do the overlay, they hit enter, they click it, it's full screen automatically. And then if they want to change it, then they can go back, adjust the zoom, they can adjust the frame, and do it that way. But that's a good idea. We can probably add that next week, because that's a really simple one. That one's not hard to do. But yeah, back to TTS. It's not bad, right? I think we need to do a couple passes to make it easier, so that the things that I had to think about, the users don't have to think about, and then we can just kind of go from there. Check this out. Clouds are rolling in. It's pretty nice. See, and here's the other thing.
@abird from 612 says, you could just tell users what resolution the image has to be to fully fit the screen.
Yeah, you would think, but even that's not easy. Most users, I should say, have no concept of resolution at all. It's pretty rare that they do, and that's actually why they like the app, is because they don't have to think about it. We use 1080p by default, and we basically do all the selection stuff that most apps make you select. We don't do that. We just select some default values automatically. But yeah, I agree with you. I think for people that are a little bit more knowledgeable, that does make sense. But the majority of people don't even know what they don't know what resolution their HTML overlays are. And oftentimes you also see HTML overlays that just include a widget. So let's say if I have a dancing cowboy that we see down here, and there's a dancing cowboy widget that just alerts every now and again. Like sometimes it's just a character that they want to put in. So that gets tough, but I think we could do something so it's a little bit easier. Hopefully the wind isn't too crazy for you guys right now. Let's see what else. We're rounding the corner to wrap up here, but what other things do you guys have, or any sort of suggestions? So Torch is coming, probably next week, honestly. So we'll probably move the logic of the cameras from pinch to zoom to have those buttons, but have them kind of hidden. But the idea is still so that you can do one-hand operation. So if you don't have like a selfie stick, you can do one-handed operation and be okay with it. TTS will probably come 2 weeks. So not next week, but probably the following week.
@abird from 612 says, dude, I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you too. By the way, I made this a little powered by TVU Go. It's not bad. The animation's kind of lame, but I gotta fix that. It's not there yet, but yeah. But this is super helpful. So no, I appreciate you guys helping me, because helping me test, giving me feedback, telling me what you guys hear, because it makes things go much faster than if I was just chilling on a feed by myself, because then I would have to do everything, go home, watch the VOD, make sure, I was like, oh wait, that didn't work the way I thought it did, and then I have to go back out, do the test. So people that are actually in stream help me out a ton, because then we can just have an open dialogue and just kind of go back and forth, which is extremely helpful for me. So I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I think what we'll do, so you see that it just animated out, and then now it's just a little button. Why am I all shaky? Maybe I'm hungry. Did I eat? Did I eat? I don't think I ate. Yeah, I don't think I ate. Let's do this. We're gonna switch. Whoa! So Bluetooth speaker worked, was good. Now we'll switch back to the mount. Boom, we're mounted. And we will go back to the pip view. Yeah. So
Chugwook says, maybe have a color fill on that okay up there at the bonding feature to let streamer more aware of the situation of not bonding.
Yeah, that's we're at Chuck, you're so smart. We're changing that. And actually I'm not sharing anymore, right? Yeah, no. We're actually changing the way that bonding is. Here, I'm gonna share the screen for you guys again. So let me, because now we're doubled up, let me shut that off. So we're changing the way that we're bonding, because look, this means nothing to you. This is Wi-Fi. What does 2,400 kilobit K mean to you? And then what does 2,600 K mean to you guys? Nothing, right? But this is 3 megabits, and this is 2 to 3 megabits. So bonding it is giving us about 5, give or take, between 4 and 5 megabits a second. Oh, did you see me lag when that animated out? That was interesting. I don't know if that lagged for you guys. So because this doesn't mean anything to you guys, we're moving to megabits a second. So we'll likely change this to be megabits a second. And then originally, I wanted it to be one number, but I agree that we need to alert the user in some way that they're not bonding. However, we do that. So if for some reason one of the connections dropped, it would say Wi-Fi dropped using cellular or something. Let's actually.
From 612 says it did.
Oh, sick. Here, let's do this. What's my signal? See, but I'm getting really bad cellular. This is likely going to drop the stream, but I do want to do a test to show you guys. So I'm going to drop the Wi-Fi. When I drop the Wi-Fi, it will say Wi-Fi disconnected using cellular. So it does notify the user, but it's going to drop the stream though, because our signal isn't strong enough. So it might not work. Yeah, look at it. See how much it's fluctuating right now? Anyway, it will. Here, actually, let's simulate it. Let's go off of dual. And then when I put it back, it's going to give us a notification. Basically, that notification's the same for the Wi-Fi cellular. So it didn't do it because I just put it there. What about if we use split? No, because I did it within a short amount of time. But black text comes up right here, and it says something about Wi-Fi disconnected using cellular or something like that. We thought about being more overt when 2 connections aren't connected, but there are streamers that just don't use 2 connections. They only use 1 connection. So if they had a notification telling them to connect and they don't know how to connect to a Wi-Fi network, that could be a really annoying notification. And yes, you would think, see it says sharing disabled. Oh, that's what you're saying. And so if we start sharing again, here's the notification that we'll see.
Bird 612 says, okay, I know you like a clean UI, but it'd be nice to know how much data we are pushing at any given time too.
So you are, but you have to do math, right? Right here. So 5 meg on Wi-Fi, a meg, and under a meg, so 6 megs total. But I see what you're saying. That's the struggle that I have is do we show one number? So do we show the number that's combined, or do we show multiple numbers? I definitely don't want to add another number because I think 2 numbers is already confusing. But I definitely want to the audience or to see the different connections that are being bonded.
Chug says, maybe have it on that bar because streamers doing IR have their attention to so many things around them that most likely they can miss this notification.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. The other thing too that I thought about is if we're moving to megs, we don't need, like, this is like 5,000 something, right? We don't need, so if we just say 5 meg, 4 meg, 4.5 meg, it leaves room for more numbers. So that's kind of what we're talking about internally is like, you know, if we're just doing megs, then we can have like an aggregate like roll up of like how much data total that you're pushing out.
Date from 612 says, that's the upload data or is that the connection speed? Sorry.
That is how much data you are using to bond your connection. So it's not an indication of like signal strength. It's an indication of like how much bandwidth the phone is using to be able to bond those connections and send them. Because we're like on a server, it's like pretty complicated and like technical, but that's the other thing that I want to be able to move to is like bitrate that you're actually using so that it's like accurate data.
From 612 says, I just want to know what I'm pushing and what is available to me through my bonded connection, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. One of the things that I want to do though is I want to make it so that you see like what your active bitrate is in the area that you're in, so that if you're having an issue, like you and I could be dropping right now and this signal could be good still, like it could display that it's good, so it gives you like a false sense of security where you're like, oh, my bitrate's fine, but in reality it's not. So like I don't know, I've been debating this as like active bitrate, so that whatever you see here is like your real bit rate, so that, you know, if you have really bad signal, you know to get to a different area. So instead of having to like rely on chat. So yeah, there's like a handful of things that I think you know, we're working on just to kind of make better and easier, but it just takes time. But like these are super helpful to get feedback from you guys, and a ton of people are on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, like tag us with your setups, tag us with the things that you're doing, and we'll repost it, because all that stuff is like super helpful for us. And like we listen, we're also in everybody's streams too. So if you're a streamer, I like go in the streams usually.
From 612 says, yes, I love that, very practical.
Yeah, cool. We'll go into your streams, we'll say hi, but like we're trying to like build a community so that the app can like stick around. It can be in this space, it can help streamers do cool stuff. But the only way we get there is by having a good user base that, you know, communicates and shares what they're doing. So yeah. All right, this is a good place to end. We'll end here. Thank you. Hopefully you guys will see this in the next couple of weeks, and if not, there's like a ton of other stuff that we're also working on. Like we're just constantly like working on stuff, releasing it, and I wish we could move faster, because there's a lot of cool things that I think are coming down the pipe that I definitely want to show you guys, that I think is going to be like a really well embraced like in the streamer community. So we're working on it. It just takes time. So I appreciate you guys. Let's see if I can time this right.
Chuck says, another super cool stream.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate it. I used to know an old Vietnam War photographer whose name was Chuck, and so your name always reminds me of him. I don't know how old you are. You're probably not old, but yeah. Let's see if I can time this right, because there's a 6-second delay that I have on here, which means that like if I hit in stream and if I hit it too early, it's going to end the stream early. So I have to also fix that probably next week, is whenever you hit end, it should end the stream whenever you hit it, and not like hit it depending on the delay and then it cuts off your stuff. So cool. Thanks for your guys' feedback. I appreciate it. It's super helpful and helps us just be better for you guys.
A bird from 612 says, please keep doing these streams. They are really helpful and insightful.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like I said, I personally test every single feature that we release. So the way that it works is usually we'll put in the feature request. We talk to the engineers about logically like how we want it to be implemented. We get it working. It goes into a beta release, and then I personally test that beta release to make sure that it's easy to use, it's not overly complicated, and then if it is like this is right now, we'll go through some revisions to make sure that like we got the feature working, it's consistent, it's not causing like a disaster of bugs down, like other bugs not to work or other features not to work. So then now how do we make it easier for the end users? And we'll do passes, we'll name things differently, we'll move buttons around. A lot of things that were buttons usually just become automated. So depending on what the user action, like if the user does this, here are all the things that were buttons now that just automatically happen in the background so that the user doesn't have to think about it. So that's kind of how we think about things, all because like we want to try to remove technical barriers for users so that they can just focus on their streams and like entertaining their audiences. But that takes time. And so we're trying to take the time to like make that happen. So yeah, sometimes we're not going to get it right all the time, but like we're trying, and like we're trying to build the community, we're trying to get the feedback, and we're trying to listen to our user base to just make cool apps and make things easier, make streaming more accessible to people that they weren't. Full transparency, like pricing, like we get that like our pricing is high for a lot of users. We don't want that to be the case. We want to be able to if somebody has the desire to stream, we want them to be able to do that. And today we can't. It's not totally accessible to everybody. But the more people that are on the platform, the more people that are using it, the more flexible we can get with stuff like that. So like I said, we're hoping to build something cool so that, you know, we can be like the premier streaming app for everybody, period. So it's like a pipe dream. We'll see if we can get there, or we'll just shut down in a year. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, hey, either it's going to be like accepted in the space, or like people are just going to just use the free apps that are available, which is totally fine too. So anyway, rant talk over. I appreciate your guys' feedback. Like I said, like your help accelerates and makes the app a lot better for everybody. So thank you. And let's see if I can time